que hay gente metalera que sintoniza las plataformas de Metal Memes MX. Yo soy Frank y el día de hoy les traigo una entrevista muy especial con la banda Soen. Gracias a nuestro patrocinador ACK por esta entrevista. No se lo pierdan, exclusivamente en Metal Memes MX.
This is Cody Lee Ford from Soen, and you are watching this on Metal Memes MX. Hey, how's it going, brother?
Very well. How about you?
Very good, very good. No complaints, no complaints.
Oh, thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
So, well, Cody Lee Ford from Soen. It's a big honor for me to interview you because I like Soen very much. And well, let's get to the chase because I know time is money and very important.
No, it's okay, yeah.
So I know you guys have been here in Mexico a few times. And well, I wanted to ask you, what's been the most magic experience or something like that you have experienced here in Mexico?
Oh man, there's so many. There's so many. I mean, the first time we came to Mexico, I think this was like right before the pandemic. We were playing in Mexico City, and the show had sold out, and it sold out for quite some time, and there's so much demand for, you know, more tickets. And so what they ended up doing, what we ended up agreeing to is we were like, you know what? Let's play 2 shows in the same day.
Oh.
And so we played, you know, maybe a show around 5 or 6, and then another show around like 9 or something. And so it was just insane that, you know, to play 2 hour-and-a-half shows in a day was crazy. But, you know, they provided us with some masseuses in between the sets to give us some massages and stuff. So that was good. But I remember at the end of the second set, you know, just being in a power stance, my leg was like trembling, like my body was giving out. There was a lot of, but the energy of the crowd was so amazing those days. I mean, every Mexican show has been fantastic, but yeah. So we've just enjoyed, like, you know, walking around these beautiful cities, and you know, the food is excellent. I'm a big fan of Mexican food. I worked at a taco place actually for like 6 years. Yeah. So I love tacos. Me and Lars, we love like spicy food too. So we like to just go and find some nice hot sauces and stuff. But yeah, we've just had just hanging out in between the shows at the hotels and stuff, and yeah, experiencing the nice weather, and the whole thing is always like a dream to us. We love going there, and everybody is so receptive and warm and embraces us and treats us so well, and yeah, so we're always, it's become one of our favorite places to come. So yeah.
Oh, I'm really glad to hear that because, well, yeah, food and weather here, it's like very good. Yeah, all bands always say that to me. Like when we're in Mexico, we love this kind of stuff because, you know, Europe, it's amazing as well, but sometimes it's really cold. Sometimes they even have like heat waves. I remember a few years ago I was in Paris and the heat was unbearable.
Yes, last year we played Hellfest in Paris, and it was over 40 degrees Celsius when we played that day on an outdoor stage, and it was almost dangerous, honestly. I mean, it was so hot, it was hard to breathe. I mean, just being up there on stage, it was hard, man. It was difficult. It was difficult. But yeah, we haven't. Mexico is usually a nice weather. So.
Oh yeah, I believe it. So, well, other of my questions was gonna be like, when did you first realize that you were going to be a guitar player, and well, how did you end up in this amazing band?
Yeah, so it was around 14. I picked up the guitar because one of my best friends, he lived down the street, and his uncle had given him a guitar. It was like this Washburn that had been all painted and everything. And my dad was a guitar player, quite a good one actually as well. He's kind of bluesy, metal, a little bit of everything, but mostly a blues kind of player. And he always had a couple of Stratocasters and like a Fender Twin amp and some guitar pedals. And I guess I just never really thought of trying out guitar until my friend brought his guitar over, and I guess it was just the right time for me to discover it, because as soon as we started playing our first power chords and stuff, I just became obsessed, you know. And yeah, the obsession just has never really stopped. But then, yeah, so I guess I was 28 when all of a sudden, I mean, I should preface this by saying, you know, throughout my teens and 20s, I was a big Opeth fan. Big Opeth fan. Loved Opeth. I mean, it's one of the reasons I played Paul Reed Smith guitars, actually. I wanted something that was versatile to do kind of the proggy thing and, you know, nice cleans, distortion, whatever. And so anyways, I was a big fan of Martin Lopez. He was one of my favorite drummers. And all of a sudden, one day, I get a DM on Instagram from an account that's like Martin Lopez 1 or something like this. And, you know, only has like 200 followers or something like that. But the message says something like, "Hey, Cody, really love your playing. We're looking for a new guitar." You know, this is Martin from Soen, ex Opeth or whatever. "We're looking for a guitar player. Email me at this email." So I thought it was a prank right off the bat. Somebody's fucking pranking me right now, no doubt about it. You know, there's no way Martin Lopez is, you know, with this like weird, sketchy account like that's only has 200 followers. There's no way. Too good to be true, of course, definitely. And but the email he sent me, it seems kind of like a legit email. So I was like, fuck it, I don't know. I'll see if this is the real thing. I don't know. So I email him, and sure enough, it's the real Martin Lopez. And yeah, I guess he had just seen some of my Instagram videos. He really liked my style, thought it would really fit with the Soen sound, and asked me to audition for the band. And so I had a couple of days to learn a few songs, which was super stressful. He asked me, you know, would you be interested in joining? I had no idea what that would entail. Like, would I have to move to Sweden? Like, whatever. But you never pass up this kind of opportunity when it comes, right? So I just said, yes, whatever it takes. I want to be in this band for sure, no doubt. So anyway, I auditioned, and I guess they had a couple of guys auditioning, and they ended up choosing me. And that was the most incredible moment of my life, really, I think. Just feeling like all of my hard work, I mean, I call it hard work, but it's just my passion, you know, just kind of paying off, and somebody identifying it and thinking that this would be a really nice partnership. And I think they're happy. I hope they're happy with the choice. But we've all been really, you know, the band has become like my family, and so they've become quickly some of my best friends as well. And of course, you know, when you're touring, I'm sure you're a musician yourself. When you're touring, I mean, you experience things that are hard to describe to anybody else, right? It's just you live in this bond of guys that you know, it's hard to associate. You know, it's hard to tell stories to anybody else and have them really understand like how crazy the tour life is sometimes, and that kind of a thing. So yeah, I'm really blessed to be in this band with these guys.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. That's an amazing story, because as you said, like, you never believe like someone like that is going to call you and tell you like, do you want to do what you love most in the world with us? And it's like, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah. It's always been my dream. So I guess, you know, if anybody is watching this and you're a musician, just get yourself out there yeah, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, the internet is a beautiful thing sometimes, so try to use it to your advantage.
Yeah, of course. That's really good advice for sure. So another of my questions is, I know you're from Canada, and I know as well that the band is from Sweden. So what was the experience for you to make all this music during this pandemic and these last few years, which has been a little bit hard, and a little bit hard for musicians and bands, because you know, at first it was like really difficult to go out there and perform, and some other people, like, they love the road, so getting stuck at home was difficult to
Yeah.
for their creative process. So tell me a little bit about this, because you guys have released on this last year's a few albums, amazing, all of them. And well, yeah, tell me about that a little.
Yeah, once again, the beautiful thing is we live in this kind of digital age where it's not too hard to communicate with each other, to share ideas, to send each other files and that kind of thing. It's all, relatively very fast. I mean, nothing ever beats being in the same room together and riffing and stuff like that. But at the same time, it works in different ways. I mean, you can kind of sit alone and really focus and hone in on writing parts and that kind of thing. A lot of these guys have families and stuff too, so it's hard for them to really say, okay, let's do this at this time or whatever. For them, it's more like, okay, oh my God, I have an hour free today and I can like work on music or whatever. So we haven't really had any obstacles with writing or anything like that. In fact, we've really made it work in a way that we think is pretty efficient. And but I've had to learn a lot. Like when the pandemic broke out, I had never really recorded myself at all. Like, I'm just kind of a guy who just like plays guitar in his room and with an amp kind of thing, right? And so I never had like an audio interface or used a DAW. And so immediately when the pandemic hit, it was like, okay, we got to record Imperial. This is what's going to keep us busy right now. So I had to buy all of that gear and I had to spend hours on YouTube, watching tutorials on how to do all of this. And but it's I mean, if there's one piece of advice I can give to anybody, it's buy this gear. I mean, you can get an interface for $100, $150. You can use a DAW like Reaper or something. Record yourself, because it's the best thing for yourself. If you want to be a better guitar player, record yourself as much as possible. It's hard to hear in real time if you're actually good or not. But when you hear yourself back, you realize you're garbage. You need to practice.
Oh, yeah.
So and the other thing is that even if we all lived in Sweden, when it comes to recording an album, most musicians nowadays, they're going to be recording the guitar tracks and the bass tracks as much as possible from home now. Because it's just, studio time is very expensive, and you've basically brought the studio to your house. And so, you get to spend as much time as you need to just get the parts right and stuff without being on the clock. And so, so we kind of, we'll do it that way. And then when we can, of course, we get into the studio to do certain things like the production, and Joel and Martin will do their parts, of course, like in a real studio for sure. But overall, it's been a learning curve, but very, very important stuff to learn. And we make it work.
Yeah, totally. And you're very right, because we live on a day and age where these things have become a little bit more easier. Like, I don't know, 30 years ago, you could never record on your house with your computer and all this stuff, right? And some of the older bands like even complain about that. Like it's like, we don't like this like MIDI thing and this digital thing, but it's very useful and a lot of bands use it. And I think it's something you should take advantage of.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. It doesn't, recording from home doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing things like digitally, let's say. I mean, the best thing to do is just record your DI tracks. And then if you want to kind of stay as analog as possible, I mean, of course, you're recording into a converter and everything and recording it, but you know what I mean. You can send your files back out into an amp in the real studio and do that sort of thing. So you between amps and plugins, whatever. I mean, it's a great time to be a musician. I mean, there's just so much technology at your disposal. There's so much that is going to spark your creativity. So yeah, man.
Yeah, totally. You mentioned previously the album Imperial, and I gotta say, like, this is not a question, it's something I just want to say. Like the song Lumerian, that song have blown my mind from the past 2 years or so. So congrats on that song. That's an amazing one. Yeah, I love that one.
Thank you.
So, well, this last question I always ask because it's like a really fun question. Like, what is the most craziest thing you have experienced on this metal rock and roll road? I don't know, maybe in a concert, maybe on a festival, maybe just traveling. Maybe it doesn't have to be like playing live,
Oh man, the craziest thing. Honestly, one of the craziest experiences was playing on the 70,000 Tons of Metal cruise. That's an experience, man. I know I have my reservations about cruise ships. I'm not like a fan of cruise ships, let's say. But holy, what an experience that was. I mean, it's a week of nonstop music. I mean, the cruise ship is huge. There's like 5 or 6 stages. The party just never stops. It was everybody on the boat is fans or other bands. There's karaoke that's happening every night, and it's like all these bands that you love to listen to, and they're all there. We're all just like singing karaoke and just hanging out, having a good time. So that was a really that was a special experience. That really surprised me. I wasn't sure what to expect from like a cruise show or whatever, but that was an insane time. But yeah, I mean, the touring life brings a lot of insanity, man. It's you know how it is. It's just it's a different world, really. It's there's nothing really normal about it, but it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I love that. I love how every day is a little bit crazy, a little bit different, and yeah, it keeps you on your toes, keeps things interesting.
Yeah, of course. And every festival, every gig has its own like problem solving. Like a lot of times, like you said before, I am a musician as well, and I used to have a band, and you always have to solve problems on the moment. Like you don't expect this to happen, but you gotta improvise, and that's something crazy as well. And yeah, the 70 Tons of Metal, it's a very special gig because it's very unique. Like I don't know if there's a more unique type of festival on this world, because it's a cruise ship,
Yeah.
And even though we like here in Mexico, we have a lot of festivals right now. I believe we are like the biggest fest country on Latin America right now, because we have like Hell and Heaven Fest, we have Candelabrum Metal Fest, we have Mexico Metal Fest. Like those are amazing, and they always bring a lot of bands. But this cruise ship, yeah, I bet it's a crazy experience. So yeah.
I recommend that anybody who can afford it, try it out once, maybe.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much for your time, man. it was a really big honor for me to interview you, because I'm a big fan of the band, and I'll be watching you live here in Mexico for sure, because you're coming to my hometown, León, Guanajuato. So,
Perfect.
So yeah, I'll be there rocking with you, and I hope I can drink a beer or something with you. Yeah.
Let's make it happen, man. I would love that.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for your time, dude. Coldly forth from Soen, everybody. I hope you have a very good day, brother. And well, thank you so much again.
You too, man. You too. My pleasure. Hope to see you. I'll see you at the show, man. We'll drink that beer.
Oh yeah, of course. Of course we will.
All right. Cheers.